Hey everybody, so today what we have here is, if you haven't seen this already, then if you haven't seen this and you're in the tech world, you've probably been living under a rock. You probably heard everyone been sponsored. Any major sponsorship that's come through, you probably heard about this laptop from Linus to a lot of different people. They have this one, it's called the LG Gram, and it's nothing that we're actually not sponsoring anything by them, but we do actually have one in for repair. So just want to show you guys pretty much what it's about and just how to do a main. It's just a screen replacement, so it's nothing too big of a deal. We're not doing a board repair of it yet. If we do ever get one in, definitely check it out and just wait for that video to come up because we'll actually do one of those as well. It's a pretty cool laptop. It's very light, very thin. They weren't kidding when they called this thing the LG Gram. The piece of plastic is very just light feeling. It doesn't feel like any of those clunky or very thick plastics that you usually see in other cheaper laptops. It is a nice. It's still a pretty expensive laptop. It is a little bit more on the high end, especially just for design, which is a little bit strange because it's just very light. That also takes into consideration that just because it's super light, it's very easy to possible damage as well. For this one, because it was slightly dropped, and of course there was damage to the LCD, so we always have a problem. It's not really anything about LG's fault or anything like that. It's just the nature especially for panels and screens, especially something like this. It's just they're very easy to damage. So the panel, we're just gonna be showing you how to remove the actual LCD from the laptop and how to just replace the screen. So let's just get started. Let's just get into it. And the first thing you want to do, of course, is just to open up the bottom of it. And you'll see that there are a bunch of little rubber pieces, and there are also a few plastic coverings there. Each one of them does have a screw that's underneath it, so just take note of that. So to open these up, you can take some type of flat edge. Just be careful, especially with the rubbers and the piece of plastic there. You don't want to scratch the plastic, or you want to be very careful not to lose any of those little plastic pieces that do come off for the coverings. And you can do that. You can take off the bottom cover once you do that. And we're mainly doing this just to remove the battery, because it's always good, especially on these types of laptops, or just any laptop or any repair that you do. You always want to make sure that you remove the battery, because if you do have the battery plugged in and you plug in the new screen, you might see a spark and goodbye to the LCD. You might get a burn mark on the LCD cable, and you also might fry the board there. So you definitely don't want to do that. Once you do that, once the battery's removed, then what you can do is we can work on the screen now. So we just need to take off the bezel here. The bezel is a little bit adhesed, just like any other typical bezel. There's some clips that go along the side of it, and it's very thin. It's very easy to just leave a little dent or mark or anything like that. Just be very careful. It's very easy to damage as the plastic is very thin. It's all these parts, of course, add up to the laptop being thinner. So you always want to be careful while removing these parts. Now you're presented with the screen, and you notice that there's no screws anywhere. And so how's it being held in? And if you haven't guessed by now, of course you know why, especially if we're making a video about a screen placement, that it is adhesed. And the adhesion does go all the way across there. For this one, it actually wasn't too difficult, especially if the screen's damaged. It's not too big of a deal. The adhesive really isn't that heavy here. And usually on some of these, you might see, if it is a heavier adhesive, you would see maybe some little tabs that you can actually just pull off, and then it'll take off the whole entire tape, and then the screen will come off right from here. But unfortunately for this one, it's just one of those, you just have to go around the screen and just basically take it off. So what I would recommend would just be using like a guitar pick or something very similar like that. It's very thin. It's a very thin screen, so it's very easy to damage, but if you're doing a screen replacement, most likely it's damaged anyway. But it's always good to not damage extra things on top of anything else that you need to. Especially if you ever want to resell the screen or just do anything else with the screen, or maybe use it as a backup, or I don't know, whatever you like to do. Once you do that, you'll see that it does eventually come up, and that you'll see that the panel is surrounded by just only a few little pieces of tape. And you can see there's usually just about one in each corner here. Now what we want to do is we want to definitely remove all the glue that you do see that's actual on the screen. You want to put a new piece of glue on there, so it's going to hold in the new LCD perfectly, because there's no other screws holding it in. So this is something that's very important. whenever you put new glue on anything, or you want it to hold as best as it possibly can, you definitely want to take off all the old glue, and you don't want to reuse it because it's either been heated up or it's been worked on, and there won't be a perfect maybe flat area of glue, so it might be it's not going to hold the best, or it could just be a little bit damaged anyway, so you want to take it off. So definitely make sure that you scrape off, you take off all of the glue there. We have the top right corner and the top left corner that have some glue on there that we just want to remove, and we also have it on our panel that we just want to take off and remove here. We're not worried about, obviously, because it's the panel. We don't care because we're not going to use the panel again, but just make sure that you don't see any other glue there, and you just replace it accordingly. So for glue, what you want to always do is replicate exactly what the manufacturer had. So if you see glue in the right corner, you put it in the right corner. If you see glue in the middle, you put it in the middle. But in this case, we do see the glue that was in the top right and the top left corner, and we also do see that it was on the LCD. But at this point, we don't need to really put it on the actual LCD itself. We can just put it in the corner where it was on the LCD. So we're going to have this double-sided glue here, and we're going to put one on each corner of where the actual LCD is going to be sitting. You can see that there actually is a little bit of a, you can see a little bit of a curve for where the LCD cable goes in. Just want to be really careful putting that in. It's very easy to damage that cable. The cable doesn't really come out, so you have to kind of curve it up, and then it'll push in. There should be no force here at all needed. It should just slide right in. If you're putting any force, you're going to damage it completely. You can damage your LCD, and you can also damage the cable there. So once you do that, the glue should be ready on the back of the LCD cover, and what we want to do is just make sure it's lined up perfectly, and we can put it on correctly. So it's very easy for this one to line it up because there are actually holes in the corner there, and the little holes that go in the corner will fit perfectly to where it lines up, so you're not worried about if you have to move it a little bit to the left or to the right, because the bezel will actually totally fit fine and everything will be perfectly lined up. So it's very easy to do this, and just put it up and you should put it on. If the glue feels a little bit loose, I don't think it will, but if it does a little bit for you, you can always put a little bit of heat, and then you can put a very, very tiny bit of pressure on there and just squeeze it in a little bit, and you can maybe clamp it by using some rubberized clamps. So you can put maybe these little rubberized clamps. Just be really careful that you don't damage the screen, because the screen is very, very easy to be damaged here. And especially when you're putting anything on, or you're applying any pressure, it's very easy to damage the screen. This screen is, for some reason, it's abnormally very, very thin, and it's just very, very, not flimsy, but just very delicate. So once you put that on, you can just make sure the bezel goes back on. And after you get the bezel on, you're pretty much done there. You can turn on, plug in the battery, plug in the charger, turn on, you get a display, looks good. So really hope you guys enjoyed watching how to replace the well-featured, the well-known, the well-sponsored everywhere LG Gram. Everything does look pretty good. I've never really honestly seen a screen this thin. This is the other screen. You can do a little pencil trick with it, and you can feel it. It makes a noise. Like, it's super thin. Like, it's not like any other panel. I know you can't really tell by just looking at the panel here, or really seeing. You can see that it's very, very thin, but you can see it's really thin, but you can't really tell that it's like this thin. And you can see it kind of like, it's very flexible, and it's an LG, so you would think it's like LG display or something, or maybe some type of rollable or anything like that. Maybe they're kind of hinting towards this, but man, look at that. That is crazy. Like, it totally bends. It's nuts. I know it's broken and everything, but don't worry about that. And don't ever do that, especially with your laptop. They did a really good job actually making this really light. It's really cool. But you basically have to sell a gram really to buy this, because it is a little bit on the pricier side. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video on how to replace the screen on the LG Gram laptop. Unfortunately, we weren't sponsored for this video, unfortunately, but maybe next time, who knows. If you like, subscribe, then maybe we will eventually have a chance one day, if we get enough of subscribers and enough likes on a bunch of our videos, that we can get some sponsorship as well. It would really be pretty cool. I want to show you guys really cool stuff, maybe with like computer repairs or anything interesting that we do see here. So we do lots of data recoveries, liquid spills as well. If you ever want to check out the channel, I know we try to push that content a little bit more than that, because it's a little bit more interesting, but we like to do repairs from here that we do see as well. And of course, it's the great LG Gram, so you have to do a video on that one. So if we ever get any board issues with it, or if we ever see any damage to liquid spills, we'll definitely make a video for that, so stay tuned, subscribe for more of that content. But anyways, guys, you guys have been really great. It's been very supportive recently. We're trying to let's at least hit 5K soon. I do know of making this video, we're getting close to there, but let's try to really hit 5K, and then we want to go over and beyond. We want to be really cool and show you guys all type of repairs from a tech repair shop. All of our contact information is linked in the description below, so please go ahead and check that out. And thanks a lot for watching. You made it this far, and salutations and goodbye.